Welcome back, YouTube. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. As you can see in front of you, we have a new bike. Now, I'm sorry for not putting out a video sooner. I've actually had this bike about a month now, and I have 600 miles on it. In fact, today it turned 600 miles, so I'm gonna have to change the oil and do its first service on it. But I just had issues come up where I just couldn't film it, or I forgot my microphone, just being a dummy, you know, this, that, and the other. But anyway, here's my new bike, the 2026 Aprilia Tuono V4. Now, this is not the factory edition, and we'll talk about why I didn't get the factory edition in a minute. But not to bore you with specs, because there's a whole lot of videos out there about this bike already, but just real quick, it's a 1099cc V4 engine, 65-degree engine, producing about 180 horsepower, about 83-ish foot-pounds of torque. If I got that wrong, I'll put it on the screen. Nice Brembo brakes, 330 mil dual discs, 240 I think on the back, or 220, I can't remember exactly. It does have the standard suspension, not the electronic suspension. The factory has the electronic suspension. Also, these have the cast wheels, not the forged wheels. So it's a little bit heavier, but honestly, I can't tell the difference. And normally I don't like silver bikes, but in person, this thing looks way better than on any picture or video. I wanted the factory for that color scheme, that black and red color scheme, but it's also $3,500 more. And that $3,500 can go a long ways for aftermarket parts, such as an exhaust, which is going to be replaced very, very soon, because this thing's got to go. We got to hear that sound. Excuse the dirt on the bike. I have been riding it, so it's got some bugs in here and that. A couple things about this bike is that it does have the standard suspension, which, by the way, from the factory, it's great. And one thing that this bike, even though you see right here it has cruise control, this bike does not have cruise control. This is actually for the wheelie control. But you can get what's called a comfort pack, and if you get the comfort pack, it'll add cruise control and a couple other little bits. I can't remember what it is, but I'll try to research it and throw it up on the screen. Other than that, it's basically a Tuono V4, and it's amazing. Now, mind you, I have not taken it above 6,000 RPM because I'm trying to obey the rules of the factory suggested break-in period, but I have taken it up to 6,000 very quickly, and this thing's amazing. It's just like my RSV4, just a lot more upright and more comfortable. The RSV4 has clip-ons, and they sit about right here, so you can see that's a good 6 inches higher, so that's good. And honestly, it's so much more comfortable. It doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it's so much more comfortable than my RSV4. Does it still hurt my back? Yeah, because I'm old, got bad back and my wrists, but it's nowhere near as bad as the RSV4. I can ride this thing all day with minimal discomfort. That RSV4 was killing me. The pegs are the same, or at least they feel the same, as far as the height and where it is and the curvature of your leg when you're sitting on it. It's cool, cool new winglets on the back, a little bit higher wings. My RSV4 had them, but they were a little bit smaller and a little bit more subdued. These are a little more pronounced. It does come with a rear seat if you want to put it on there, but Mrs. RSV4 doesn't really want to ride on it, so this is probably going to stay. Let's throw a leg over and see what it's all about. Now, the RSV4, the screen and everything was a little bit higher up, and the windscreen came higher up. This thing, when you're riding down the road, the wind hits me pretty much chest level, so there's not a whole lot of wind protection, even though it's got this little non-adjustable screen. The dash is completely new from my RSV4. Just a refresher, my RSV4 was a 2020 model. This thing has a completely new dash. A couple things I don't like about it: you can't change the theme. This is the only theme it has. I think the factory has another race theme. This one does not. But it tells you all the information you need: temperature, what mode you're in. I'm in tour mode. It only comes with 3. It comes with sport, user, which is customizable, and then tour mode. And it does have a fuel gauge, which is awesome. But let's get on the road and talk about this bike just a little bit. As you can, hopefully it comes through on camera, the sound is the typical RSV4 The nice Aprilia V4 engine, which is amazing. Love this thing. And it will get a new exhaust here pretty soon. But for right now, let's take it down the road and see what it's like. Now, mind you, like I said, I have ridden this bike. I put 600 and some miles on it already. It feels pretty much like my RS V4. Not a whole lot different, except way more comfortable. It has the power of the RS V4. Now, mind you, it's down 40 horsepower compared to the RS V4. But honestly, for the city street, you'll never know it. And you won't need it because this thing's plenty fast. Plenty fast. Now, why didn't I get the factory edition? You see some videos out there already on the 26 Tuono and the RS V4, but everyone seems to have the factory edition. And yes, it's a beautiful machine. I love that color. That's my favorite color. I wish I could have got that one instead. But honestly, $3,500 cheaper, and really the only thing you're getting is a few electronic bits in the dash that's mainly intended for racetrack. You can't really use it. Like, for example, a lap timer. Where on the street are you going to need a lap timer? So if you're not racing it like me, do I need a lap timer? No. It's cool to have. It's nice to look at, but that's really all about it. You're not going to be timing anything. And it comes with a couple other programmable features that's strictly intended for a racetrack use, and it's useless on the city street. It comes with the different wheels, the lighter wheels. You don't notice it, at least I don't. My RS-V4 had the forged wheels. Honestly, I can't tell the difference, at least not on the city street. Maybe on the racetrack, if you rode it back to back, you could tell. But on the city street, you can't tell the difference. And of course, the main event is the electronic suspension. Now, when I got that RS V4, I swore that I will never get a bike without electronic suspension ever again. And it's true, because it is an amazing suspension. That Öhlins electronic suspension is absolutely fantastic. However, I found that I set it to what I like, you know, for the city street riding, and I never touched it from that point forward. I just left it the way it is. Now, it does have the active, constantly adjusting suspension, which is nice. But honestly, just riding around, can I tell the difference? No, I really can't. I truly can't. So for me, it was just basically, let me save $3,500 and not get these features that I won't use on the city street anyway. The biggest thing was the color. I really wish I could have got that dark Kraken black and red paint scheme. And like I said before, seeing this silver bike on pictures and videos, I just didn't really care for it too much. But when I saw it in person in the showroom, it looks way better. And it's really grown on me. I really do like it. Every time I walk out in the garage and I look at this thing, I'm like, oh my God, that thing's beautiful. And it really is. As far as the dash layout, everything's great. It's got, like I said, this adjusts the wheelie control, and you got traction control paddles just like on my RS-V4. This switch cluster's rearranged. And then, of course, one of the weird things about this bike, you see that green light? It means my headlights are on, but you can actually shut it off and only have the daytime running lights by pressing this button up here. And I don't know why that's even a feature. I don't know, but if I press it, the light goes off, and now I only have DRLs on. I don't understand that. I don't know why that's even an option, but it is. So there's a quirk on the RS-V4 or on the Tuono. I don't know if the RS-V4 has it, but the Tuono does. And let's see. The only thing, honestly, the only thing different about it than the RS-V4 is less power. But again, 180. If you think 180 horsepower is not enough for a city street, you're highly mistaken. I was gonna say something else, but I won't. Anyway, yeah, more than enough, way more. This thing's stupid fast. You don't need it. It's an awesome machine, awesome machine. I couldn't wait to get one. I wanted the Tuono specifically just for the comfort, because I love my RS-V4, but I was struggling. It was hurting. My back was killing me. Will I get another RS-V4? Probably at some point in my life, just because I love that bike so much. However, This Tuono is way more comfortable. What's weird about it is that, like I said, the dash is farther down, so you have to look down. You actually have to tilt your head down when you're riding because you're sitting more upright, and if you have to look at the dash, you have to tilt your head down, which is kind of unusual for me anyway. Other than that, this bike handles great. It handles just like my RSV4, but a little bit better because it's got the handlebars instead of the clip-ons, and it feels like you can do more maneuvering, U-turns, stuff like that. You can do it a lot easier. And it's got the fuel gauge, which is awesome. I complained about my RSV4 didn't have a fuel gauge. It had all kinds of other cool whiz bangs, but it didn't have a fuel gauge, so that kind of sucked. Mirrors are just like my RSV4. I can tell that I have some really sexy elbows. That's about it. They're kind of useless. You have to pull your elbow in and tilt your head to look in the mirror and see anything. So it's kind of useless just riding on the road. It's just like my RSV4 where under 3,500 RPM it chugs and burbles and lugs along, and it lets you know that it doesn't like it. This bike does not like to be under 3,500 RPM. The quick shifter doesn't work very well at low RPM. It's kind of clunky and notchy. Other than that, the quick shifter is phenomenal. It's got three levels of wheelie control. And like I said before, you can adjust it with this button here. You can see the number go up or down. And then with the paddle shifters down here, you can adjust traction control all the way up to 8. So I usually keep it about a 3 or 4, something like that. Otherwise, this bike is awesome. It feels a lot like my RSV4. I feel like the tank was a little wider on my RSV4 just by a little bit. They did redesign this tank shape, but I like it. And it has a cutout right here for where my knee sits, and it's perfect. And then, of course, the heat. Because it doesn't have the fairings, it doesn't keep heat in very much. Now, does it still cook my ankle? Yeah, it still cooks my ankle, but if you have long pants on, which you should, you won't feel it as much. But I do feel heat on both my ankles. But as far as my knees and my hands, because the RSV4 used to blow hot air out right here, right on your hands, and the clip-on was down here, so it was just blowing heat right on your hand, especially my right hand. It was constantly cooking. My knees, my thighs were just constantly cooking. So this one eliminates heat better. It doesn't get as high. My RSV4 in the summertime used to get up to like 230, almost 240 degrees just sitting at a traffic light. This thing hasn't gone above 217, and the cooling fans kick in and it eliminates so much more heat. So it's nowhere near as bad as my RSV4 was as far as heat goes. But the handling, it's just like my RSV4 with handlebars, which is phenomenal. Let me shut my visor so you can hear me. It is silenced a lot by this canister that's on the back, but as I said before, that's coming off as soon as I can get me an exhaust for it. I looked a couple weeks ago and there was nothing on the market yet for it. Leo Vinci and Kropovich and SC Project does not list an exhaust for this bike yet. But I think I found that Leo Vinci just came out with one, so that might be the go-to. And I'm gonna get well, those what do you call those plugs to override the flapper valve and the exhaust, the servo buddy. That's what it is, servo buddy. Heeltech makes one. I just looked on their website a couple days ago. They don't list one for this bike yet, but I'm sure it's coming very soon. The 24 model, it doesn't fit. It's a different style plug, so I can't get the 24. So I'm sure pretty soon it's coming, and then I'll eliminate that servo of those cables and that flapper valve and get an exhaust. I am going to keep the catalytic converter only because, what the fuck are y'all doing? That's how you get run over by a fucking car. Anyway, if you get rid of catalytic converter and get a full system, then you have to get the bike tuned, and the exhaust is like $3,500, and it's almost another $1,000 to get them to tune it. So that's not going to happen. I'm not spending $4,500 for exhaust and all that. I'm good with the slip-on. So the catalytic converter is going to stay, even though it's kind of small, so it's not that big of a deal, but yeah, I'm not spending that much money on an exhaust pipe. Anyway, that's pretty much the video on the new 2026 RSV, or I'm sorry, 2026 Tuono V4. And there will be more videos coming, I'm sure, plenty more, along with my tracer. And if you like the video, please hit that like and subscribe button. I really appreciate it. It helps my channel. And we'll catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching.